Hey, listen, the schedule's not amazingly difficult, but it's not a cakewalk like Cincinnati either. No. However, the headline for the Chargers this season will be 11 herbs and spices. Chargers don't chicken out. Colin, I love the over 9.5 for the Chargers here. I mean, again, if you're looking at head coach, offensive coordinator combo, find me a better duo than Harbaugh and McDaniel. I'll wait. I mean, McDaniel, you guys could say, oh, he didn't win anything. He got a sad sack Dolphins franchise to the playoffs twice, okay? Like, he's a really good offensive coordinator. His revenge game against Miami late in the season, oh, boy, I can't wait for that. But you know this. You need an offensive line. Herbert has both tackles back healthy. We like what they did in the offseason. And the schedule, they're going to start 2-0. No disrespect to the Cardinals or whoever starts for the Raiders.
They drafted a Slaughter out of Florida is probably the best interior O-lineman. So, yeah.
And you know Harbaugh loves the trenches. There's a gauntlet after the first two with the Bills, Seahawks, Broncos, and Chiefs. That'll be tough. But again, another team that faces the Rams coming out of the bye. 2 weeks to prepare. Enormous. And then the second half of the season, you got another Raiders, Dolphins, Jets. I think this is a 10-11 win team, Colin.
Same. So do I. Tomorrow's headline.
You know, in my opinion, this is quite possibly the most obvious take in the entire football landscape right now. The Chargers are going to be an outstanding team. That's it. That's the simplest, most straightforward prediction anyone could make. The genuinely difficult part isn't arriving at that conclusion, it's figuring out how to repackage that same conclusion in 1,000 different ways between now and September. That's the real challenge. Because how many different times can you stand up and say that Justin Herbert is a phenomenal quarterback, that Mike McDaniel is a certified offensive genius, that the synergy between those two is going to be electrifying, or that the offensive line is finally in shape? It becomes incredibly tedious to repeat the same exact points over and over without sounding like a broken record. And at this point, I have to take a second to give myself a quick plug, because I'm begging you, please, 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 all you San Diego Los Angeles Chargers fans out there, do not forget to hit that subscribe button and watch this entire video from start to finish. When you do that, the view counts absolutely explode. The subscriber numbers go through the roof. It creates this massive avalanche effect. And let me be clear, this isn't just some shallow chase for higher view counts, and it's not just about inflating subscriber numbers. It's about giving me the ability to produce the absolute best possible San Diego Los Angeles Chargers content that I am capable of creating. Content that remains fair, unbiased, and firmly grounded in reality. Content that allows us to have genuine, honest, and level-headed conversations without any of the typical hype or nonsense. Right now, the comment section activity per view is absolutely off the charts. When you look at the percentage of engagement compared to the biggest, most dominant channels you can possibly think of, we are literally ranking above them in most metrics. It's honestly wild to even say out loud. We are genuinely hosting some of the most intelligent, thoughtful sports discussions on the entire YouTube platform. It sounds ridiculous to claim that, but it's the honest truth. And I am working extremely hard to make that even better than it already is. So when you subscribe and watch the full video, it goes an incredibly long way toward helping me achieve that goal. But even so, I have to admit, it's actually becoming difficult to keep producing these videos about the Chargers. Not because there's no interest, but because there's almost nothing to analyze. There's nothing to dissect. It feels like such an obvious, linear path to me. It really does. It's a straight line from where they are now to where they're going. This will be the finest head coach-quarterback pairing, and look, I love Shane Steichen, I truly do. But when Shane Steichen was working with Justin Herbert, that was a very specific moment in time, under a very specific coaching staff, with a very specific set of circumstances. So I firmly believe that this current combination will be the best coach-quarterback duo that Justin Herbert has ever been part of, if we don't want to place all the credit squarely on Mike McDaniel's shoulders alone. That much seems crystal clear to me. The offensive line has obviously improved, it literally cannot be worse than what we've seen in recent years. That's simply not possible. If they get absolutely destroyed by injuries once again, well, then, you know, that's just bad luck. But that probably won't happen. The running game is going to be better, more consistent, and a genuine asset for Justin Herbert, allowing the offense to actually set up everything they want to do schematically. That's the idea, right? Now, technically speaking, the biggest question mark for me is their defense. They are losing Jesse Minter. And again, I don't necessarily think the defense is going to fall off a cliff. But will it be as much of an asset as it was last season? That remains to be seen. On that front, I'm leaving the door wide open. I honestly just don't know the answer right now. Having said that, I am overflowing with confidence that this offense is going to be absolutely incredible. I still need to make another NFL Live video on the subject. The folks there pretty much echoed my exact take on how this offense could do some truly great things. I'll just leave it at that for now. I need to get around to recording that video, which I hope to do sometime next week. Bika. Use obviously right now all the attention is focused on the schedule release. But honestly, I think the schedule itself is incredibly straightforward. When I look at it, I see a floor. The floor? 10 games. 10 wins. That, to me, is the absolute minimum. That is what I am expecting, these 10 victories. After that, the rest of the season comes down to what happens in that game against the Los Angeles Rams. Do you randomly split with the Chiefs and the Broncos? Do you go 2-0 against one of them? Do you sweep the Raiders? Or do you split because that's always on the table? But I see the floor at 10 wins, and everything beyond that is absolutely achievable. If the defense stays where I hope it can stay, and if the offense becomes what I truly believe it will become, then suddenly you're talking about 13 wins or more. I mean, at bare minimum, they are going to be able to run the football in a way they have never been able to run before. Let's actually look at the numbers. From the very beginning, 2020, 1,784 rushing yards, 3.8 yards per carry. Okay. 2021, 1,800 yards, 4.3 yards per carry. 2022, 1,500 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, bottom 3 in the entire NFL. And by the way, in 2023, what was Mike McDaniel able to accomplish with the Miami Dolphins? 2,300 rushing yards, 5.1 yards per carry. 27 rushing touchdowns. 27. Let that sink in. 27 rushing touchdowns. 5.1 yards per carry. I'm just saying. What did the Chargers do in 2023? Oh, 1,600 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns. Yeah, that's not good. 2024, 1,800 yards, 4.1 yards per carry, 17 rushing touchdowns. Certainly a bit better, but not quite what you want. So just that improvement alone is massive. It's really funny because when you listen to Kansas City Chiefs fans, I think there are perfect parallels between the Chiefs and the Chargers. Everything the Chiefs complain about not having, we don't have a consistent run game, our offensive line was banged up, our receivers were injured and not playing, that has been Justin Herbert's entire career. His entire career. And now, this season, we can finally see the absolute potential of Justin Herbert with a genuinely fortified offensive line, with an actual consistent running game that is a true asset, with an elite play caller, and still having Jim Harbaugh at the helm to make sure everything is organized and ready to go. That's why I keep saying, as long as the defense doesn't just fall off a cliff, you are golden. Completely golden. And we are going to witness this elite offense. An elite offense. I think they have a schedule that is quite open to allowing us to see that. Of course, games against the Bills, the Chiefs, and so on are going to be highly competitive. No doubt about it. But there is plenty of low-hanging fruit. And even in some of the more interesting, competitive matchups, I find myself thinking that the Chargers actually have the advantage. Chargers have the edge. Let me also look at this through the lens of run support, what Mike McDaniel will be able to do to improve the ground game. That will obviously be a huge asset for the offense as a whole, helping take some of the weight off Justin Herbert's shoulders, but also helping set up the passing game in a much more creative and successful way. So the entire attack becomes far more dynamic and much harder to scheme against defensively. Even if there was a great play call or a great play design for Herbert and the Chargers over the last couple of years, because it hasn't been a complete circus, everything still felt incredibly difficult. Every moment had to be absolutely perfect. I think Mike McDaniel is going to add such an explosive dimension that the margin for error now, and the window of opportunity, is going to be enormous. That then allows the Chargers to take more chances. When you can take more chances, and you have the right quarterback and the right coordinator, it becomes a feedback loop. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in its own way. It is such an insanely exciting prospect, no matter how you slice it, no matter what angle you look at it from. The one thing that could be frustrating is if they had a ridiculously hard schedule. I made a video about the Chargers' schedule on Friday, and someone in the comments, a Chiefs fan, of course, said, "Oh, Chargers fans are crying about the schedule." And I'm like, I haven't seen a single Chargers fan cry out the schedule. Not one. I haven't seen a single Chargers fan complain whatsoever about anything. Again, you're always going to have tough games. The Seahawks, the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Bills. Yes, you're always going to have those. I guess there's a concern, the Bills, then the Seahawks, then the Broncos, then the Chiefs, then a bye, then the Rams, then the Texans. I suppose. But I don't know. I see other people talking about how we have to view these schedules as incredibly difficult, brutally hard, unfair. They really want us to have these strong emotional responses. And I just don't operate that way. Because I promise you, if you're a player or a coach and you look at the schedule and you go, ugh, you've already lost. You've already lost. I guarantee you that Justin Herbert does not look at the schedule and say, oh man, we have to play the Bills and then the Seahawks? If that's your mentality, you're done. It's over. See you later. I don't believe for a second that anyone playing at the level of a Justin Herbert, or any elite player, thinks, oh man, we have to play the Rams and then the Texans, and then we have to go to Baltimore. Oh man, I don't want to go to Baltimore. It's so far away and it's cold. I don't want to do that. If you think that way, you've already lost. So I don't understand. I really don't. Of course schedules can be difficult. Of course they can be easier. I get that. We can have reactions to these schedules, and we can analyze them. I just think the volume of that reaction needs to be turned down a lot. For whatever reason, it's being cranked up. We're being made to believe that these schedules are make or break, that everything hinges on them, that you can't play multiple great teams in a row without being absolutely devastated. Someone said one schedule had the hardest first 6 games in NFL history, and I'm like, what are we even talking about? Where are we pulling all this stuff from? Where do we keep inventing these narratives? It's all just to try to make everything feel like it matters even more, to make the stakes feel higher. And I've got news for you. The NFL is an 18-week schedule with 17 games. The games already matter. Even a game as simple as Week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals, guess what? That game matters a lot. It matters a lot. That's the beauty of the NFL. This isn't basketball. This is the NFL, where every single game already carries weight. We don't have to artificially elevate the intensity at any given moment. We already try to do that with road games versus home games. Obviously it's easier at home, a bit harder on the road. Obviously weather can be a factor. But we try to make that into the biggest deal possible, and that's not really the reality anymore. It used to be that on the road, you'd get 3+ points in the spread. Now that's changed. Now it's like 1.5, or even 1. It depends. We already know that advantage has been phased out. It's no longer as prominent as it once was. So I see other people trying to make things a bigger deal than they actually are. I see outside people trying to force something. But in the video I made about the Chargers, I did not see many Chargers fans complaining at all. Not whatsoever. It's almost like they want Chargers fans to feel uncomfortable about a certain stretch of games. They want it to be a thing. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Life's tough. Get a helmet. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the San Diego-Los Angeles Chargers and their schedule? How do you feel about it? Do you think they're winning 11+ games? Do you agree with J-Mac that Herbert and Mike McDaniel are the best coach-quarterback duo in the NFL? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get some discussions going. Let's have some spirited debates. Let's get some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here. I would absolutely love to see you become part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something we're all really excited to be part of. I think we are well on our way to doing that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.